Hi, I'd like to tell you a story about three dreams. This young man named Paddy. This story comes from different parts of the world. We can see it in the African storytelling culture. We can see it in the Irish storytelling culture, in Australia, even as far back as Egypt. So it's an old story, probably made most popular by the book The Alchemist, and to some degree reflected in the movie Slumdog Millionaire. The story goes like this. It is a once upon a time story. And as with all once upon a time stories, time is not digital, it's round and comes from a different part of the time-space continuum. So in this once upon a time that was neither yesterday nor tomorrow, but possibly even now, this young man named Paddy, a simple man, lived in a small village. And simple in the sense that he lived a simple life, but not simple in his natural intelligence. He lived like a farmer off the land. He had his goats and crops. And this particular night that we're going to talk about, he had a dream. And in this dream, he went out of this village and across all sorts of mountains, meadows, oceans and rivers, tackled a few dragons, perhaps went to school, got a few degrees, swam some oceans, and eventually arrived at this village that had a castle in it. On the base of the castle there was a bridge, and at the base of the bridge there was a shovel. And he knew in the dream instinctively to grab the shovel and dig he did, only to find a wonderful treasure there. And he woke up. He didn't think much of it, being Paddy, but he was curious about it and went about his business that day. The next night he decided that he would, after he had had his supper and put his fire to bed and went off to sleep, ended up in the same dream. Exactly the same sequence of events happened. He left town, went across oceans and mountains, went through New York, Tokyo, even London, ended up having a few relationships, went to a few parties and talking to a few different teachers on the way, only to find himself in this village with a beautiful castle in it. And in front of the castle there was a bridge, and at the base of the castle there was a shovel in which he picked up and dug and dug, and he might have dug all night, but in the end found himself his treasure. He woke up, talked to his buddies, and his buddies said, "Oh, wait a minute, dude, this is the modern world. Don't you know we've moved on from dreams. We're a culture of science now, measurement. Unless we can see it and touch it and taste it, it's not real. Give it a rest, let it go. It's got nothing to do with you. Get back to your crops and your animals. Tend to your fire." So he said, well, the council and the community is good. His family love him. They know the best for him. He decided to take heed and paid attention to that council and forgot about it. But he didn't quite really. He didn't forget about it. He was pretending like he forgot about it. It had quite an impression on him, that this dream. Well, that night, after putting himself his fire to bed and putting himself to bed, he ended up, of course, in the same dream, leaving town. You know the drill. He did, of course, go through London, had a few more relationships, a few more parties, even accumulated a few more degrees, and, of course, found himself at the base of this bridge in this distant land, which was at the in front of a castle in this little village, only to dig up with this shovel his treasure one more time. And at that particular time he woke up and without any question set off and left his village with a backpack on his back. And as the story goes, it wasn't long, or maybe it was long, or maybe it wasn't long and it wasn't long. Maybe it was a bit of both, but at some point he did arrive at this castle in real life. And in front of this castle was a bridge, and in front of this bridge there was a homeland security business going on, something they wouldn't allow anybody in or out, nobody near this bridge. So for 3 days he paced back and forth in front of this bridge, wondering, how can I get my hands on that shovel that I know is down at the base of the bridge? After 3 days, the captain of the guard came up to him and said, "Hey dude, you know, I've been watching you. What are you up to? You're looking awfully suspicious. Are you one of these terrorists? Are you part of some secret society? Are you some sort of mystic? What is going on, dude?" Well, Paddy said to him, "Look, I'm part of, a very simple life, actually, and I had this dream, and I was wondering." He could no longer get the rest of the dream out of his mouth when the captain said, "Ah, what a load of bollocks. Nobody believes in dreams, let alone treasures at the end of dreams." He said, "As a matter of fact, I had this dream last night, and as if I ever going to believe a dream, but the dream went like this, that I was going to meet this character, and I was supposed to tell him that instead of looking for his treasure at the base of some bridge, that he should go back to his home. And in the back of his home, where he has his fireplace, there is a hearth, and at the hearth base there is a loose brick, and at that, if he loosens up that brick and takes it out, the treasure is actually right there, and he should leave right away in order to get back to it. But I don't believe in dreams, and I don't even know why I'm even mentioning that dream, but either way, I need you to be out of here as quickly as possible." Paddy said, "Thank you," and left. He got himself home. He was looking a bit ragged by the time he got home, but he was also more in style now. He had accumulated a little bit of character and a little bit of style and a little bit of resources being out on the road. And sure enough, went into his house, and went into the hearth. At the back of the hearth was a loose brick. At the back of the brick, the loose brick was the treasure. Well, didn't Paddy buy himself a beautiful mansion? And didn't he explore the world and travel and then come back eventually and dedicate one of those rooms of the mansion to dreams, helping and supporting people, getting the feet on their dreams, and starting to create a place where people can talk about their dreams and they can follow their dreams, and help even get some dream counselors involved. In fact, that's exactly what happened in the building of this house that I have recording this movie on. I'm standing in that dreaming room, and it is dedicated to helping people get the feet on their dreams. And that's where we'll end this story and pick up a little bit about some of the teachings around these stories. And I'm going to say that you could say a lot of things about these particular dreams and a lot about this story. But one thing in particular that you can get very clearly, and we might say about this particular dream, is that it is important for each of us to follow our dreams. It is important to follow our bliss, as Joseph Campbell says. It is important through thick and thin to somehow, despite the naysayers, despite the challenges of alligators and tempting women in parties and rock and roll, to keep on and persist to accumulating what it is that we need to know about our dream. The second thing we might say about this dream is that we need to get the feet onto the dream. We need to get the feet under the dream. We need to follow the dream. We need to use our body, in other words. And if that means using our hands, and if that means using our resources and skills in whatever fashion, that we do that. The third thing we might say about this dream is that when you really look at your life, it's really conspiring for you to be living this dream. You have a destiny. You have some cargo to deliver, some beauty into this world. It is for each of us to deliver and articulate and express and somehow get into this world our destiny, which is wrapped up in this dream. And the story of these three dreams is exactly about that. Thank you.